All right, so with three conferences out of the way, we have E3, we have EA, we have Bethesda, we have Microsoft. There was Square Enix announcements. I'll get to those. Now we get to talk about Ubisoft and Aisha Tyler and all of that fun stuff. So, first of all, I'm going to preface this. If you're an Ubisoft fan, great. For me, though, this was kind of a boring one. So, people might remember last year, I think I said it in Geek News, the Ubisoft conference that they had last year was okay. It was bearable. It had at least some level of balance. There was some stuff that was interesting. Most of it was just crap as far as I was concerned, but there was still something for me to get attached to. This time around, not so much. So we started off with, so we're, again, like the Microsoft conference, we're just going to go in order of everything that happened, and I'm probably going to miss a few things, but deal with it. We started off with Just Dance 2017, which obviously this is going to happen. In fact, the funniest part about Just Dance 2017 is where Nintendo isn't willing to talk about the NX, Ubisoft was, because they wanted to announce that Just Dance 2017 will have an NX release. I gotta hand it to Ubisoft. They talked about the NX. So at that point, that's cool. The whole thing was a weird presentation, kind of like last year where they decided to like do a music video live. That's kind of what happened here, except with dancing giraffes and all. It was weird. And frankly, made me more do a WTF moment than excited. So the next game, and then obviously we got introduced to Aisha Tyler again. And I want to preface this. So, if you like Aisha Tyler and how she does the Ubisoft conference, great, good on you. I don't, and the main reason I don't is because she tries way too hard to emphasize that she's a gamer. And so at that point, it's one of those things where A, she doesn't really look like one, she doesn't look like she's remotely interested. I'm not saying she isn't, but I think she tries very, very hard to say she is. And so at that point, either my advice would be to her to tone it down, or B, if you're not a gamer, just say you're not a gamer, you're a PR person, and just let us get used to that. Okay? We don't have to have Reggie Fils-Aimé come out in classically trained t-shirts to know that he is, like, he doesn't have to emphasize that he plays games. He's the PR guy, we know that, but we also love Reggie for many other reasons. So at that point, Aisha Tyler, nothing against you. I'm sure you're a great person to meet up front, but either tone it down or just stop the illusion that you're a quote gamer, okay? Because it hurts for me to watch. It really does. It hurts. Aisha Tyler aside, you can have your issues with me. I don't care. This is my viewpoint on her. I think she's a great person, but she tries way too hard. And let's go ahead and go into the first game before people start giving me the Aisha Tyler hatred. I don't care. The first game that was announced was Ghost Recon Wildlands, which was the last game announced last year. Oh, I need to mention that too. So the other emphasis of this conference was that it is Ubisoft's 30th anniversary. It was all over the place. Ubi E3 30, all that stuff. So again, last year they ended with Ghost Recon Wildlands. We got a trailer for it. This time around, though, we got a full-on gameplay demo and a release date of March 7th, 2017. So unfortunately, this was another whoop-de-freaking-do moment because I don't play the Tom Clancy games. I am not interested. Basically, here's the way to look at it. If it's a military shooter, not interested. If it's something like Gears of War or Halo, where it's outlandish, it's not based in modern times, I might actually try it. Ghost Recon, Call of Duty, Battlefield, I don't play them. Either they have really short story modes, or I'm just not interested in modern times. So, there you go, whoop-de-freaking-do. It was a cool gameplay demo for, I'm sure Ghost Recon fans will appreciate it. I'm not one of them, but I think you guys got what you wanted. And March 7th is not that bad. The next one was the announcement for South Park: The Fractured Butthole. Fractured But Whole. You can't really say it differently. You got a really good trailer, really funny. Basically establishing story, giving us a couple of good in-game cutscenes with Trey Parker and Matt Stone once again on the floor. Looked really hilarious. There were a lot of moments that I just kind of giggled. Like they emphasized the moment where now this whole thing isn't based in a civil war, and it was entirely based on how Cartman wanted to do a Coon, like a South Park Heroes cinematic universe, and every other movie was a Coon movie. Like the Coon was in it, and so at that point, like that wasn't the reason, but people were mad that they didn't get such focus like the Coon did, and they started up a civil war. And first of all, Cartman got mad because he didn't want a civil war, and then somebody else got mad basically, wait, we're not supposed to have a civil war until phase 3! Nice train, Matt. That was really good. We also got improved combat, which reminded me more of like D&D or Final Fantasy Tactics, where basically now it's a grid. You're not set like in Stick of Truth. You actually have to get up to these people to attack them or whatever. They also announced like various other aspects, including, so a big emphasis of Stick of Truth was your farts, and your farts are a prominent attack. In this one, your farts are so powerful they can change time. So like the one thing they showcased was a fart ability that can basically take the turn order and flip it so that all of your characters are at the front again. That was cool. I like that concept. And the other big announcement there was that if you have pre-ordered, this was a big emphasis at E3, and I might have to do like its own video, but a lot of people had, if you pre-order, you get this. And I wondered if it was just because pre-order sales are down, and so at that point they need to kind of bring them back up. But if you pre-ordered the Fractured But Whole, you can get Stick of Truth for free. So that's a nice little incentive for people, especially me, where I haven't played Stick of Truth all the way through. I've only seen some playthroughs here and there, but I do know that people have been doing a Let's Play request for Stick of Truth for quite a while. So we might actually have to do it. And we also did get the December 6th release date this year, so you guys can get your hands on the Fractured But Whole. I can't say it in any way to make it sound worse, not worse. You can have that in your hands by Christmas. The next thing was The Division. And like I said in the Microsoft conference, we only got a trailer there, but we got more details here. We got details on the new expansion, Underground. We also got, I believe if you pre-order or whatever, I don't know what the deal was, but it was in honor of the 30th anniversary for Ubisoft. If you did this, you would get new outfits inspired by Splinter Cell, Rainbow Six, and Ghost Recon for The Division. So that was pretty cool. I like that. And then also it kind of wrapped up with the second expansion that's coming out, which is Survival. We only got a trailer for that. And again, whoop-de-frickin-do. I'm not interested in The Division, but I'm glad that you guys are getting expansions and that they're excited for doing it. Then we got more emphasis on VR. Jiminy freaking Christmas. Microsoft already spent some time on VR. Admittedly less, but then EA had to focus a little bit on VR, and then Bethesda had to focus a little bit on VR. And I can already tell you, I've watched some of the Sony conference, and they focused on VR, and I'm just kind of done with VR, people. I'm not going to get VR, so this is a whole segment that just kind of annoyed me. We got a game called Eagle Flight, which was announced for VR. With a gameplay demo. Looked cool. You play as eagles trying to get rabbits to nests. Okay. Now, the next VR game I actually was kind of interested in. It doesn't make me want to buy an Oculus Rift, but like if I ever saw one, or like a friend had one, I'd probably want to play this. And that was the announcement for Star Trek Bridge Crew. And the way that they announced it was they actually brought in some Star Trek former cast members. They brought in LeVar Burton, a.k.a. Geordie LaForge from The Next Generation. We had Jerry Ryan, a.k.a. Seven of Nine from Voyager, and Carl Urban from Star Trek Beyond. He is the bones or the Dr. McCoy for this new Star Trek trilogy. And so we got to have that, and basically it's a 4-player game. One of you is the captain, one of you is the tactical officer, one of you is the engineering officer, and one is the pilot. So you could have an interesting. It's kind of like one of those or one of those like Disneyland rides where one person has control over one specific thing, and you can control it. You know, I like that idea. I think that's actually a really cool concept for Star Trek because that's what we wanted to play. It's not that we want to go do the away missions; it's that we want to be in control of the ship. So, good on you. They even actually brought LeVar Burton out onto the stage to talk about it even more. That was cool. Moving on, because I really don't have much else to say on the matter. Then we got For Honor. For Honor came back. If people don't remember For Honor, it was from last year. It was... I like the comparison I think that Aldo made last week where it was like Chivalry. That's pretty close to it. It's basically you can play as a officer in an army and you can just go at it. It was strongly multiplayer last year, but this year got an emphasis and an announcement for a single player campaign and a full on trailer to show us kind of the side of show us kind of the stakes that we're walking into. Basically, a big cataclysmic event happened, and now only 4 armies exist. And the ones that we've seen are the Viking army, knights like British knights, and then we also had samurai. Then we also got the announcement for a new faction. I can't remember what they were called, but it was like the Apali or something like that. And they are specifically aimed towards creating chaos amongst the other factions, because now that this cataclysmic event has happened, everybody is fighting for resources. And so at that point, the Apali literally just try to poke you too much and get you to fight the samurai as Vikings to be able to secure those resources. So that looked interesting, and we actually got more information. We got a full-on gameplay demo into the campaign mode. Looked really good. It was the Vikings invading the samurai castle, and we also got the announcement for literally Valentine's Day 2017 is the release date for Honor. This was like one of the few jokes that Aisha Tyler made that I laughed at, which was like, either you have you can get this for Valentine's Day and play it with your spouse or significant other, and you can either have a really good time or your girlfriend or boyfriend is going to move out the next day. Yep, that's pretty much it. The next game that we had was Grow Up, which is a new indie game that Ubisoft is working on. I love the term indie when it's Ubisoft. EA at least had an excuse where they're sponsoring indie studios. This is just you making indie games, EA or Ubisoft. Basically based around a little robot named Bud. They said this came in last year. I didn't remember it, but Grow Up is it's a game from last year featuring a robot. It looked really inventive, looked like a really solid platformer, and it is coming out this August. So I might actually tackle this as a review. Then the next indie announcement came out, which was Trials of the Blood Dragon, which was basically 2 major people coming together to create Trials. One was for Trials, one was for Far Cry Blood Dragon, and they came together to do Trials of the Blood Dragon, which literally came out after the conference. So yeah, that's probably going to hit my review list because it looked freaking awesome. It just looked like it was 80s glory all over the place. So I might actually have to pick that up and do a review for it. And again, the next thing that we moved into was Assassin's Creed. Now, people might think that means they're announcing a new game. No, it was entirely an emphasis on the Assassin's Creed film. We got an additional trailer that showed more characters like Jeremy Irons. We got to see he's going to be like the evil doctor of this one. And we got to hear Aisha talk about how she thinks Michael Fassbender's hot, and okay. But that was pretty much it. It was just extra trailer stuff, and they were excited to bring it to us this December. So there you go. It wasn't an emphasis on Assassin's Creed. It was an emphasis on the movie. Then we got into Watch Dogs 2. And I'm just going to say I haven't played the original Watch Dogs. And so to say I'm interested in this would be kind of 50-50. I think it looks good. I don't know if I would be interested in the long run. I'd have to play Watch Dogs to be able to find that out. But we did get a trailer and a gameplay demo. You actually did a heist against a politician. Again, I'm also surprised this is happening because, to my knowledge, Watch Dogs did not do well financially. So at that point, I was surprised they even did a sequel. But okay, they did one. It is getting a November 15th release date, so you guys can look forward to that. And additional content, this was something that I think was announced for... No, it was on the Ubisoft conference. Because of Ubisoft's good connection with Sony, they actually announced that all additional content for Watch Dogs 2 for PlayStation comes out 30 days earlier than everywhere else. So that's something to consider when you actually purchase a copy of this, is if you get it for PS4, you're going to get your content 30 days earlier. So something to keep in mind. And then we wrap things up with a new IP from Ubisoft called Steep, which is basically a skiing, snowboarding in the mountains of Europe kind of thing. I want to say it was race specific, but no, it was just like you could go out into the mountains and do your own thing. You can snowboard, you can ski, you can parachute, you can do the I don't know what it's actually called, the flying squirrel outfit, where you can fly on your own. And there was a big emphasis on that, and the fact that they love that they're making it. It actually looked pretty good. I'm not a big sports game guy, but like I said, I've played Need for Speed, and I used to play sports games when I was a kid. Steep looks interesting enough that I would probably want to play it just for the sights. You know, just go down a mountain and go, oh my gosh, that looks so cool. Make that a wallpaper on my PC. But that's really like the only interest that I have in it. But I have a feeling a lot of people are going to like it. And that pretty much wrapped up the Ubisoft conference. So final assessment, again, it was kind of hard to sit through because a lot of that stuff I'm just not interested in. I'm not interested in the Tom Clancy games. I'm kind of surprised Steep caught my attention, but Eagle Flight didn't. Star Trek Bridge Crew did, and then we had Grow Up, which kind of did. Trials of the Blood Dragon did. The Assassin's Creed film stuff didn't catch my eye. Having to sit through Watch Dogs 2 for as long as I did wasn't fun for me, at least. Maybe for a Watch Dogs fan it was. So at that point, I'm going to say it was okay, but it wasn't great. And so at that point, that's going to wrap up my my overall coverage for the Ubisoft conference. Now, you guys might have to wait a little bit because, unfortunately, some stuff came up last night, and I wasn't able to watch the Sony conference live. So, here's what's going to happen. I'm actually going to be trying to watch both the Nintendo conference and the Sony conference at some point today, and then I will try and get those conferences out by the end of the day. If not, they will definitely be up by tomorrow, and the wrap-up will be my thoughts on the Square Enix announcements. So, you guys can look forward to that, and I look forward to bringing that to you next time.